continuing from previous lecture, let's also try to do, because the service is not running on this server, so but you can still see that as soon as I try to do SSL related command on this machine, which is OS, the message was sent to a different machine, which is Ubuntu, and using syslog protocol. Now let's try to see FTP, if FTP is running on this. I believe that FTP is running on this machine, so let's try to do that by typing in FTP localhost, and let's just go on with the username Ahmed, and instead of giving the right password, let's give him the wrong password. So you see that as soon as I gave him the wrong password, we get this message that password authentication model for Unix, and the protocol was pro FTP daemon, and it says that authentication failure for user Ahmed. Now let's try to give him the right password. So username was Ahmed and password, maybe I typed it wrong. So let's try to do it again. User Ahmed and password. Okay, so now I'm in, and we see that a session has been opened up for user Ahmed, which means that a success was there. So that's how you can configure the default files in your syslog server to accept messages from different machines. You can use this scenario as well, but this is usually suitable for typically suitable for small organizations. In large organizations, what you want to do sometimes that you want to create files separately for each and every device, or maybe for each and every group of devices. You can do that by going into, let me just get out of this file. Okay, so Control-C, break this tail command sequence. So let's just forget this one, because this was just to show you how we can configure our local machine to send its message onto a remote syslog server. Now to configure this syslog server to accept messages from different machines and putting them with different names so that it would be easier for you to identify, you can go into etc and then our syslog.conf file, and if I bring it down below, we can add an stanza over here, which would look like, since I'm read only, I'm just trying to show you what it looks like. It would add a template of files, and then after that, let's just call this template, let's say test logs. So test logs is the template, then comma, and then where we want that path to be, starting with inverted commas. So let's say var log, and after that ampersand sign, and then the host name, so that host name gets printed like we had seen that OS was getting printed in the file that we had just seen, which is the name of my operating system or my machine. And then we close the ampersand sign, then we front slash, and then another ampersand sign for defining the program name. So we can do that by putting in program and program, which just kind of you have to use the same syntax if you want to achieve this functionality. So program name, and then we close the ampersand and then dot log. So append that program name with the log, and afterwards close the inverted commas, put on static. Now in this line we have created a test logs template. This is just a template, this is not a file name, this is a template. The file will be created by the name of the host name and the program name .log. And after that, what we can do is that we can add in the facility and the login level. Like maybe we can put in static and then the template name that we will refer by appending a question mark, and then the name of the template, which is test logs in this case. And after that we can put in and this tilde mark. Now the settings that I've just done, they need a little bit of explanation. I believe that what does it really mean. Now I've already explained this first line that we have created a template that syslog server will send the messages related to this host name and this application that is sending that messages to a file which will be created at runtime having this name in there. The second line says that put all the messages that are coming from here into this template. It means that use this template to log these messages. And this third line, this would mean that do not log the messages into the main log files of this machine. Rather put them only in here. So that's why I use this and tilde sign. Now once you have made these changes, you can get out of the editor, and if I show you an important thing over here, let's just type in ls-long listing and slash. And this is the thing I wanted to show you, that look at this one. I have put the path that create a file or number of files in var directory. But look at this. var directory has a user and owner root, and no one else except the root itself, and not even the users in the root group. They are not allowed to write in the directory. So they cannot create the files. Now there is a way, either you can set the syslog owner and syslog group as the owner and group of this var, but I tell you that this is not a recommended practice. What I would do is that instead of doing the configuration that I have just shown you to create separate log files for different devices, what I would do is that I would create files in var directory by myself using the name of the device or maybe the IP address of the device, and then I would reflect those names in the configuration file. So that is a much safer way than and the recommended way than putting in than changing the owner and the group membership of this var directory. It has to be, it's better that is left to the root itself. So the purpose to show you that stanza that I had added in there, the template one, or just to let you know that there is a procedure that you can use to create random files at runtime based on the host name and the program that is sending that particular syslog message. Now that pretty much covers the syslogging facility and the configuration files and how we can make our Linux machine to accept messages from remote devices as far as Debian based distribution is concerned. Now let's quickly jump on to CentOS and see how Red Hat based distributions deal the same these syslogging facility levels and this syslogging facilities itself, what configuration files are used there, and how we can start and stop this service over there, because there is another concept of journaling as well. So let's open up the terminal of CentOS. So here I am at my CentOS box, and if I do union -a, we see that it's CentOS is 64-bit architecture. And if I do, let's say ls etc/r syslog, then we have got our syslog dot directory and dot configuration as well. If I do, let's say, let's just have a look at the directory first. Now there are two files. One is gluster.conf, this is the example file, and the other one is listen.conf, and I'll just tell you what in this listen.conf is. But first let's have a look at the rsyslog configuration file, which is etc/rsyslog.conf file. And this is more or less the same as that we had seen in case of Debian distributions. Now this line over here, this imugsock and imjournal, you can very well see that this provides support for local system logging, and this one is provided for system daemon journal logging, which I was about to tell you that in Linux operating system this system daemon concept is there, which we can use to centralize logging and information logging facilities, so that it would be easier for us as compared to system rsyslog, which kind of disperses the logging in different locations and becomes somewhat cumbersome to manage all those logs. So it's better with system daemon that it manages the logs under a central location, and we can access those logs using this journaling. And if I bring it down, we can enable these options like this one for UDP and the other one for TCP. And this also shows that if I bring it down a little bit, these are the including configuration files just like the other distribution that we had seen. And in down below we see that there is no as such syslog, rather all the information except mail and authentication, except these, all the information is sent to var log messages. So let's go there and let's have a look at var log messages. If I type in, let's say, and I believe I need to do it maybe with, let's just have a look at the permission level of that file by typing in ls-l and then var log and then messages. You see that only root can read or write onto this file. So I need to use the root privileges. I type in sudo, given my password, and okay, so I need to do a more on that. So here it is, and we see that this is the CentOS operating system machine name, and we see that it's our syslog daemon related message. It's the same application that has generated this message. Similarly, we have system daemon related message, we have print daemon services, and if I bring it down, we can see the kernel related messages. And also, if I bring it a little bit more, we may see other related messages like maybe, so these are the again the kernel related messages. All the messages, mostly of them are kernel related as we can see in there. So this is related to disk, which is interface, SATA interface, and these are the virtualization related messages. Now, just like what we have seen in Debian based distribution, we can restart the service in CentOS as well, or in Red Hat based distribution by typing in sudo and then service, then our syslog, and let's say if we want to restart it or not. So we can type in restart and the service will get restarted. And it is saying that it is redirecting it to system controller. So this is another thing that I want to tell you is that modern Red Hat based operating system, since they use system daemon, so it is recommended that we use system controller to start, stop or restart a service. So I would type in sudo system controller and then whatever the action that we want to take. For example, we want to restart, and then the service name, which in our case is our syslog. So our syslog.service. So once I press enter, the service gets restarted. And we can also see the status of the service if that shows us. Let's just bring it over here and do status. And we see that indeed our syslog service is enabled, and not only that it is enabled, it is active and running, and was started 15 seconds ago by the command that I just used. Now if we have integrated our syslog with the journaling or with system daemon, and we want that our syslog message should be also be collected and monitored and managed by the system daemon, and specifically is journaling daemon, then we can do that. And there are a couple of changes that you need to make in the configuration file, and let me just show you that. Number one is in etc and our syslog.conf, and if I bring it up a little bit, then this is the line which is omit logging on. You need to put in off in here. And another change that you need to make to get it integrated is the file that I was just mentioning earlier, which was in our syslogd directory, and the file was listen.conf. And you need to add this line. By default this line is there, but if it is not there, you need to add in this one, which is system log socket name and run, then systemd, and then journal, and then syslog, so that syslog gets integrated with the journal. Journal gets to monitor the syslog messages as well. let's get out this file, and if you want to see the messages of journal, you can type in let's say journal controller, and after that just press enter. I need to run this command with root pages so that it shows us the output, and this is the output which looks more or less the same as that of syslog files that we are seeing. But the important thing is that this is more concise. For example, these red entries, they reflect the error, and these yellow ones, they reflect the warnings. So for example, if you want to see the messages that are of error nature only, I can type in sudo journal controller -p and then ERR, and we see that only error messages are displayed which are colored red. Now by default, the system control file, it shows the messages from the last reboot. But if you want to keep hold of the messages from all the previous boots, you need to make it consistent. And you can do that by putting an entry in etc then systemd and then in journald.conf file. And the line that you need to change is down here where it says storage is equal to auto. You need to put persistent instead of auto and uncomment this line, because these are the default values for these variables. So just wanted to show you that the new technology is kind of driving away from syslogging, and we had this it seems a bit complex in the beginning, this system daemon and journaling, but I tell you that the benefits, they are far more and outreaching than that of syslogging. And soon in the near future, we might see that syslog server will be deprecated in the new distributions. So that's all there is to it as far as syslogging configuration on Debian based and Red Hat based distributions are concerned. I hope you have learned from these videos, and I would like to thank you for viewing.